Welcome to the May 8th meeting of the Oakland Mayor and Council and the local school board. We have a very special meeting tonight. We have our school board from Oakland, we have our superintendent from Oakland, and special guest, we have our superintendent of schools from our regional high school. So thank you all for coming. At this time, roll call.
Mayor Schwager.
Here.
Councilman Bialy.
Here.
Councilman Knapp.
Here.
Councilman Kamala.
Here.
Councilman Levy.
Here.
Councilman Friticelli.
Here.
Councilman Talamine.
Here.
And as I said every meeting, please look at your cell phones and kindly put them on mute or turn them off. Also, please refrain from texting. Texting is very discourteous, disruptive, and could be construed as a violation of the Open Public Meetings Act. At this time, I ask you to stand to salute to the flag and remain standing for a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law, duly announced, advertised, and posted in the municipal building. And as I stated earlier, we do have the local school board here, the Oakland School Board. They have a quorum, so they have to start with their meeting. So I'm turning it over to you right now. Why don't you come up here to the microphone?
Good evening. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Oakland Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted on May 6, 2019. In the municipal building, the board offices, all school offices, and copies sent to newspapers serving Oakland, the Record, the Herald News. The board reserves the right to limit public discussion of personnel items so as to preserve individual privacy. The board appreciates the concerns and comments expressed by the public and will take them into consideration. However, please remain advised that neither the board nor the administration may comment on or respond to public inquiries or statements regarding any internal personnel matters involving a district employee. Please be further advised that there is no privilege or qualified privilege with regard to any statements that you may make before the Board of Education. Furthermore, in addition to their respective rights to privacy, employees of the school district retain all rights regarding defamation and slander according to the laws of New Jersey. Roll call, please.
Ms. Cooper, Mr. Gaffney.
Here.
Mr. Mazzilli.
Here.
Mr. Skirbo.
Here.
Ms. Shelkin.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming. So every meeting I give a mayor's report before we move on to everything else. And my mayor's report starts with a big congratulations to our Oakland Green team. This past weekend, they did a tree planting. They installed tubes in the river, 497 trees and underbrush in the ground. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for all you do for Oakland and the members of the Green team. I don't know where you get all your energy, but thank you. We really appreciate it. The Green team continues to help Oakland be green by collecting recyclables at the library. Look for the white box labeled plastic bags. They are collecting, and it's just there, and you don't have to have a date, you don't have to have a set time. If you see the box and it says plastic bags, you could bring your produce and bread bags, grocery bags, cereal box liners, Ziploc bags, and other reclosable plastic bags, case overwraps, ice bags, newspaper sleeves, dry cleaning bags, plastic shopping bags, and bubble wraps. So this way, if you, rather than throwing it in the garbage, go to the library, put it in the white box that says plastic bags. And
Excuse me,
speaking of recycling,
I
yes?
actually did 2 weeks worth of plantings down at the river.
Oh, 2 days, 2 days.
2 days over 2 weekends, right.
Yes, in the rain.
In the rain, for Roots for Rivers, it was called.
Yes, thank you. This Saturday, May 11th, is shredding, but now we're on to paper shredding. It's going to be in the municipal lot, and it's from 9 to 11. You don't have to make an appointment. Bring all your papers that you want to shred. And the good news is, you do not have to remove paper clips, and you do not have to remove staples.
And you don't even have to take it out of the box.
That's right. You just stand there and watch it shred. It's unbelievable. It's great. This Tuesday, May 14th, we always like to support our fire department and the ladies auxiliary who are really, they're like the caretakers of the fire department, is that correct? I've seen them at the fires. They really take good care of the firemen. They have their annual Strawberry Festival. It's at the Yorpo Avenue Firehouse from 6 to 8:30. You can get desserts, and it's very reasonable, fresh strawberries, cake, ice cream, and beverages. So come out and support the Oakland Fire Department Ladies Auxiliary. Our Memorial Day Parade, our annual Memorial Day Parade is on Sunday, May 26th. Lineup is at 1 p.m., and that is on right near the Dogwood Hill School, around Dogwood down to 202. And right after the parade will be a very memorable ceremony in Veterans Park. Fever Pitch on June 1st. That is our annual opening, supposedly opening, baseball and softball season. It begins at 10 a.m. in the rec field. And as you know, we have sponsors, the Public Events Committee, the Chamber of Commerce. Everybody takes a part. There are rides. There's the bouncy, what do you call it? The bouncy, what do you call that? What do you call it?
Bounce house.
Thank you. And lots of giveaways and lots of little games for the children. It's an exciting morning. So that's on June 1st at the rec field. And then shortly after that, starting on June 12th, is our carnival. And the carnival's from Wednesday to Saturday, June 12th to June 15th, with fireworks on Friday night, June 14th. And I received an email from one of our residents who had a photo of a bear on her property. And she asked me to remind everyone not to leave your garbage lying around, because that's what the bears like. So if you can keep the garbage pails inside until garbage pickup, or bring out your garbage pails right before garbage pickup, but don't leave your garbage out where the bears can come and get it easily, because that will encourage the bears to come by. And I did receive a notice from Mr. Kunz, and I said it was fresh off the press. Bathrooms. I received another inquiry about the bathrooms at the rec field, and this is what I found out today. There's a receipt of the materials tomorrow. I'm planning to install everything on Friday. If this happens, a walkthrough will occur before the weekend is out. The building official inspections are complete at the Danny D building. And so as long as the corrections in the installation are acceptable, the men's room will be ready to use. The women's room was ready, but not the men's room. The women's restroom is ready and can be used. The DPW building still requires building official inspections, and hopefully that will happen next week. And the second news that I received today was Great Oak Park. The Great Lawn has now been built. And the third, which is really exciting, the third bit of news that came right before the meeting was from Sustainable New Jersey. The Oakland Green Team was notified we received a $2,000 grant award funded by the PSE&G Foundation. And this will fund a range and can be used for a range of projects such as green infrastructure, park restoration, single-use plastic reduction campaigns, rain gardens, environmental resource inventories, creative placemaking, and green team capacity building. So congratulations once again, Green Team, $2,000 grant. Very proud of you, and a big, big thank you from everyone. Now, usually at this time, we open to the public, but we're going to open for discussion with the Board of Education regarding the school election. We get notices, we get emails, calls, after the last school board election, when the results came in of how many people actually came out to vote, and the price of $25,000, And so someone says, well, that's coming from the school budget, and I say, my feeling is, I always say, you wear a pair of pants, if you put your hand in your left pocket, or you put your hand in your right pocket, it's still coming out of your pants pocket. So the taxpayers are paying. But we want to hear why, and there's a lot of discussion, and we're not giving opinions right now. We want to hear the pros and the cons of keeping the school board election in April versus moving the school board election to the school budget to November. So you have the open floor, you have the microphone, you can sit up here, but we want to hear from you. And it's a give and take, it's a discussion, it's not just one way, so everybody, that's why I asked you to put your microphones on. Please, it's going to be a give and take discussion from everybody. And thank you so much for coming out and doing this in our chambers, so this way the public can hear it. And we really appreciate you coming out.
We appreciate you having us, we really do. Just so the way we are going to present is I have something to say, Mr. Scarborough has something to say, Mr. Mazzilli has something to say. We just have our own little thoughts about it. Dr. Cafaro is going to talk a little bit about the curriculum, okay, a little bit about how this all ties into curriculum and the academic point of view. I just want to just give a little background on how this whole thing came, how this started. Back in 2012, Governor Christie signed legislation permitting communities to move the April election to November. This would eliminate a vote on the district's budget if it is at or below the tax levy cap at 2%, plus waivers. Elections were moved to November. If elections were moved to November, they must remain there for 4 consecutive years. So from 2012 to 2016, if you made the move, you couldn't switch back. In 2016, there was a moratorium. Any board action taken between 2016 and 2008, May 31st, 2018, to move election back to April was deemed invalid. So they actually put a 6-year moratorium on it. Now, Oakland, we became, and I'm very proud of this. Back in 2012, we were the only district. One of the options that we had was we could put a petition together in town, and if we had gotten again, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but if we had gotten 1,066, we needed 1,066 registered voters to sign a petition to say that we would put it on the ballot in November for a vote in the public. We wanted the public to vote. Our biggest concern was taking the vote away, civic responsibility away from the citizens of Oakland. Because like was said many, many times, 75%, right, John? 75% of our taxes are school taxes. And we did not want to take that away from the public. We wanted the public to be able to vote. But in order to do that, we needed a petition of 1,066 signatures to get it on the ballot. We came up with 908 signatures. I remember I was telling John the last time we were here as a board was 2012, I believe, when we presented the petition, the idea of a petition. We talked to the mayor and council, and we pleaded our case for a petition. Everybody was on board. It was a real good thing. The only problem was, as school board members, we could not advertise and sell the petition. Not sell is a bad word, but encourage the petition. So we had to get the community. We had to get PTO. We had to get. We put the petition to the senior center. We went down to we had PTO people at the Little League field. We had people all over the place. People did not understand what they were. We did our best to help people understand what they were signing, but because we couldn't be there to explain the petition, people thought that they were actually at that time committing to a April or a November election. So we came up, and I remember talking to our attorney, Stephen Fogarty, and we kept extending the date to try to get that 1,066 signatures, and we just came up short. But at that time, we agreed to keep the election in April. We had 908 signatures. There's one thing, I watched the last council meeting, and I appreciate the discussion that was going on, and I appreciate everything. There's just one thing I want to make clear for the record. It was brought up by a citizen that when it was questioned have you ever gone to a Board of Education meeting and discussed your concerns at a Board of Ed meeting? And the citizen said, no, I haven't. The last I heard from the mayor that she was stonewalled, or the council was stonewalled when they tried to speak to the Board of Education. For the record, I just want to make it perfectly clear that we've had 3 meetings since 2016 with the
I
mayor.
don't think that was the word.
It was stonewalled.
I didn't say stonewalled. I
No,
don't
you
use
didn't
that
say
word.
it. He said it.
Oh, he said it.
He
I was
said
gonna
it.
say-
No,
that's
no,
not
you
a word I
didn't
use.
say it.
Yeah.
I just want, no, you didn't say it. The citizen said it.
Oh, yeah.
And I just want to make it perfectly clear that we met 3 times. And, Mr. Bialy was there, Mr. Knapp was there, Mr. Talamini.
I was there.
You were there. We've met. We've had a discussion going about this. We've really been trying to work this through together, so we're a unified governing body. In August of 2016, with the mayor's lead, we put together a Survey Monkey for the community. And it was designed, we put together how we want it designed, or our ideas, and we gave it to the mayor, Ms. Mayor, and she tweaked it the way she wanted to do it, which was fine, everything was great. We sent the survey out to the public, okay, to get their feel of it. And the results were, there were 852 people responded to the survey, 583 people wanted to keep it in April, 269 people wanted to change it to November. It was basically 68% to 31% to keep it in April. Okay, we had another meeting March 2nd of 2018, and another meeting on August 2nd of 2018. So we have, for the record, we have been working together to try to come to a solution and try really to get the public's opinion. We want the public's opinion, you want the public opinion to make this work for everybody. Again, I don't want to stand up here because there's other people that want to speak, but I was driving to work this morning, and I do my best thinking when I'm driving on 208 when the sun glare is coming down, and I'm trying to
And you're not
figure out
going
why
very
I'm
fast.
stuck. And it all of a sudden, like a little light bulb went off in my head, and I said, we have 75% of the community's taxes are school taxes. No argument there. If the school budget is moved to November, the vote, all of a sudden, 5 people in town are controlling 75% of the budget,
Which 5 people?
the school board.
Because
Because the 5 school board members are all of a sudden controlling 75% of that budget. Right now, you got 5 of the best citizens in Oakland overseeing the budget, fantastic superintendent, best business administrator. The public is in good hands.
He's a pretty good guy.
Yeah, I like myself.
He's all right.
Public is in good hands. We think that we'd rather have, this year, 482 people voted. That's 482 sets of eyes that made us work harder. That's 482 people that helped out the community of Oakland by voting. And they gave their say. I do believe that if we were to keep the election and the vote for the school budget in April, I apologize, in April, and the 2 governing bodies work together to encourage people to vote, I really believe that that number of 482 will go up.
Can I ask a question just because you,
It's a discussion, yes, jump in.
oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. So you sent out a little blue light. So you sent out a petition and you sent out information to people to vote on this. Did you notify them what the cost was for these elections?
Did we,
Well, when you're asking people if they want to vote on this, do they understand that? And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm not an educator.
It was in
in
the
the
survey.
survey, the Survey Monkey was.
So the Survey Monkey did say that this
And
is a
just for the record,
$20,000
It was
expenditure.
21,000.
It's 21,000, not 25,000.
Okay.
Okay, and yes, that was contained in the survey. Okay, and
And how many surveys did you send out?
we sent it out to all the school members, the families of the schools.
How many people is that?
It was put in the senior center. It was put,
The
it was
website, the Oakland
the
website.
Oakland Township website, the website for the Oakland Public Schools. The mayor put a nice message in our share newsletter that we provide to the community.
No, so you did your due diligence.
We absolutely.
Perfect.
So how do you explain that more people answer the survey or more people sign the petition than actually come to vote?
Because the petition went to them, they didn't have to go to vote.
Yeah, and I really believe that, again, this is
Save
the,
your computer.
this is what we're up against with apathy, or I don't know the right word.
No, that's a good word.
Apathy.
That's a word I
Apathy is a
use.
good word, except when you only get 3% or 4% of the public to come out to vote. It's a little bit more than just apathy. I think it's wrong time of the season to be voting, because people don't consider April to be voting time.
However,
It's
they
just
could
a
have,
natural, November is vote. Everyone knows that elections are in November.
or they could have confidence in the Board of Education that they're doing the right thing.
But just
I would
understand-
suggest that people don't even, I would suggest that if you asked 80% of the people who are home on that day, they wouldn't even know it was school board election day.
But,
You
but
get
the
it
point
on-
being,
on
in November, they're
November
not,
also.
in November, they lose the right to vote. They don't vote, they can vote for the candidates, and if the school budget is 2%, then it's off the table, you don't
But have
vote.
you guys ever had a budget that was over 2%?
This year we did.
And how much over was
It was,
it?
it was 2.88.
Is there a buffer in there allowed for you guys, or?
If we put, I checked yesterday, if we took that 2.88 and moved it to November,
We did.
that .88 it goes away in a waiver. So the community would not even know that we were over that .88.
If you use bank app, there's other ways.
There's other waivers. So by us at
Say that
2.88,
again, if it was
If it's any-
2.88
Well, it
and
was
the
2
voting
point-
was in November,
there's waivers that we could have put that 8.88 and it wouldn't have even showed up. But because it was in April, we presented that budget and we had to explain why that .88, why we were that much over.
And that passes muster on the 2% cap.
Yeah, but when we give a budget presentation in April, whether it goes up 1% or it goes up 2.88, we have to justify, we can go in front of the public, because it can be voted on. Even if it's up 1%, the public could come out and say, we don't want it.
So
how many
what
people
hours?
come when you have a public hearing of the budget? Like we're gonna have tonight, a public hearing on the budget, and nobody's
Well, we
here.
usually do, what we do is we have a PTO, we get all the PTOs together,
We do a joint PTO meeting.
So we have-
Board of Ed meetings. We had a nice time.
we do, and then also we present it to, the, seeing that the school district is probably the largest employer of people in the town of Oakland, we present to all the employees of the school.
Have you ever thought about sending out mail-in ballots, with the PTOs?
Vote by
Mail-in
mail.
ballot applications?
Vote by mail.
All right.
This year we had the
This was the
most
highest.
mail-ins that
Right,
we've had.
this was the highest we've had in years.
Because it's easy
So
now.
that
because you do-
480 counted that was including those
Including the
mailings?
writings.
So what hours does your election run?
2
I
days.
apologize for not.
2 days.
You don't get to, you don't select time,
That's just the time.
That's-
That's,
Time
who
that-
sets the time, the county?
No, it was the state.
for the state.
It's where it's mandated, 2 days.
It's mandated time. We don't select the window.
All right, so you can't, you couldn't start it at 6 AM so that people, okay.
Mr. Gaffney, question. How come we're hearing now that some of these districts that had adopted moving to November are now starting to move back? What's going on? I believe it was Ridgewood was one, and
Yeah,
another one I believe was
just,
Clifton.
just so I could give a little general point too. This past January, I was elected to be president of the Bergen County School Boards Association.
Well, congratulations.
So,
Well, my sympathies went round.
So, which has enabled me to be in touch with a lot of districts throughout Bergen County. We meet, every 6 weeks, and I get to share ideas, and I get to talk to other districts. For the past, and I've been involved with Bergen County Schools for a few years, so every time I go to these meetings, and more and more districts come up to me and say, we wish we never went back. We wish we never went to November.
Why?
Because what happens is, the school board election gets politicized. And you have, the school board candidates get lost on the ballot. There were certain towns that I know of that the mail-in ballots, the school board candidates were on the back. And people didn't even turn the ballot over to see that there was.
Wow.
When you go down, and it was set up, and sometimes it gets lost in the ballot too. you know, where, you know, you go down Democrat, Republican, now where's the school board? It's not, you know, it's not pleasant to the eye, it's not voter friendly, that part of it. And it does become politicized. It becomes to the point where, you know, the Democratic Party in the town is gonna put up 2 people, so then the Republican Party has to put up 2 people. And then all of a sudden, you know, where the candidates are associated with a certain political party. And it defeats the whole purpose of being on the school board. You know, I need to compliment each and every one of you you know, I've been on the board for 17 years. You know, John's been on for 14 years, 15 years. And we've had such a good relationship with the council because there's been a separation of school and a separation of the municipal government. And I think that is part of why you're so successful, and that's part of why we're so successful, because we're able to do our jobs, do our due diligence, and keep it to our group and keep it to our organization, you know, whatever, you know, what our responsibilities are. And I really think that separation is a good thing. There are certain towns that, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you, if we move everything to November, it makes all our jobs a heck of a lot easier. Because we don't have to, not that we wouldn't, but we're not accountable anymore to explaining every penny that goes in that budget. John Skirbo sits with the business administrator for 2 or 3 days at a time, right when the budget comes out, and it's line by line by line he goes over. And you know, he's a better man than I am, because I couldn't do that. And that's why everybody on the board has a certain role that we play. And he, you know, whatever that budget is accountable to John, and he makes sure that budget goes out and it's the best one we could do for the public. And if we move that to November, not that we wouldn't do it, but we don't have to do it. And who's to say down the road you get a different board, the board turns over, and you don't get 5 people on that board who it's a passion for them to do what's best for first of all, the students of Oakland, and then the taxpayers of Oakland. We'll do our best. And yes, it's $21,000. I'm not saying, you know, there's a cost involved.
So I have a question about that. So I'm a little naive to all the school election voting procedures. But the 21,000, I mean, that seems like a whole lot of money just for a whole lot of, really not a lot of time. Is there a way that we can, I don't know what the rules are, if you're required to vote by zone like you do for our elections?
That's what
Or can we just have one central location, being not a lot of people come out, it's not like it's gonna be crowded, and maybe reduce the cost? I don't know I think that would be an easy pill to swallow if that's possible.
we could look into that.
We can check with
I think it would be tough on the seniors who might live 2 blocks away from the polling place. They wouldn't go cross town to go vote. Unless-
They're not walking 2 blocks.
There is a statute, because we
Yeah,
talked about, there is a statute about, we talked about this, because during the November election, having to have, and in the schools, because there's a statute in the state that talks about a polling place must be within a certain distance, you know, of.
I would think it would be very
residents.
difficult to have one central thing,
Yeah.
because it's all about making it accessible.
Yeah, exactly.
And by bringing it in, it makes it harder for people, and they don't want you changing. It's hard to change a polling location, because I always voted here, my mother voted here, my father voted here, this is where I vote, you know, and so now you move it, and it's like you're messing with the election, you know, so it's hard to move.
I understand about, and believe me, there are pros and cons to everything in life. I mean, you know, in every job, I always say, make a column, the yeses and the nos. It's so great that you're right, that people have the right to vote for the budget. They come out and you do your plums, but there's gotta be a way to get more people to vote. That's what it is. It's that it's so few people have come out. And that's the biggest negative with the 21,000, only, what was the percentage? 3% of the voting population
That's-
votes on a budget. 3% for 21,000. So 21,000, I'm sure there's something you could find for 21,000 in the schools that would be really put to good use. So the bottom line is, if you are so strong about having the election remain in April, then let's work together, for everybody, not just the school board, but with the council. Let's somehow get our forces together to get the people to come out to vote. If it means sending out the mail-in ballot application, it's so easy,
But
just
that's
fill it
gonna,
out.
that's gonna
Or-
increase the cost of the election
Well,
then.
but if everybody comes, if more people come out, let's say they get double the amount of people, it almost seems worth it, and you hear from people who, I would love to know, and I don't know if there's a way to figure this out, who comes out to vote? PTA, parents who have children at school, and the seniors.
Usually they say seniors.
Right, well, us, right?
But, you know, Mayor,
Right, I mean, that's it. If there's a way we could work together to get more people to come out to
You know
vote.
what, it breaks my heart, and on election day, and I saw it this year, is I vote of Valley Middle School. There's,
Would you vote at a different school?
I vote, I'd carve it in stone if I could. But the people, and again, I don't know if that's their district they voted, but how many cars of parents are picking up their children? And if they, I just would wish they'd get out of, if that's their polling place, I don't know where their actual polling place, would just get, nobody's getting out of the car to vote.
well, one thing that
It
might
just
help,
takes, and again, with 400 people voting, you're not there a long time.
what might help is a couple of things. As far as publicity, we're gonna have a town calendar.
Right,
So on the town calendar is gonna be Board of Education election, number one.
We're gonna have a nice electronic sign.
They're gonna, all right, we might have a nice electronic sign someday, soon, and, we'd be able
It's
to. put it
wooden
on-
right now, but we'll have an electronic.
We'd be able to put it on the electronic
Manual
sign.
sign right
So
now.
those are gonna be,
Simulated electronic sign.
those are gonna be two publicity avenues that are gonna be new for us, might help.
would you consider having an open meeting televised before the budget to encourage people about the budget? Being televised, that might encourage people then, next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks down, on this date, go out and vote. This is the budget. We want to hear from you. These are the candidates.
And you can use our diets here.
Right.
We're set up for it already.
Wait,
Right, that's what I'm
there's a
saying.
charge for that.
21,000. 21,000.
David, figure out what,
You know, it's,
cleaning.
Mr. Gaffney,
might
You know, and just what Bev McKay's here too, is I know, I'm sure at Indian Hills, or in Ramapo, part of their deal is to get kids to register to vote also. So if we could get the 18-year-olds at the high school that live in Oakland and say, you register to vote, you turned 18 in December, you could vote in that April election, all of a sudden we could really,
Do they put it on the electronic board up at the high school?
They could, we could.
Why, yeah, why not?
There's so many different things that we could do together. And just, like I said, baby steps, and if we could see that number go up every year, I just think it's,
Notices to the churches in town. I mean, notices to the civic organizations.
yeah, exactly.
So, do these notifications
We
go
don't
out
have a
Schoology
Schoology
and everything else like that to notify people?
So,
Jewish Day School.
so for us, because we have
Can you
four,
get up,
there's,
please?
Yeah, we can't hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Tell everybody who you are.
Excuse me, I want to just say one thing before you, I appreciate everything you said, and quite frankly, before you got here today, I have a real problem with $21,000 for 480 some odd people to vote. Your reasoning is extremely sound, and one of the reasons we wanted you to come down here was, you have to listen to the people that are your professionals. You are our education professionals. Everything you said makes sense, and really, furthermore, the people have gotten ample opportunity to voice their opinion, and the people that we are tasked with representing, seem to have voted that they want to leave it the way it is. You gave them the information, so, thank you.
We're the ones who get the emails and the calls. I say, go to the school board.
well, that's, in answer
That's it.
to, I apologize, in answer to, one of the questions, whoever asked me about why districts are turning back, Ridgewood, part of the reason Ridgewood turned back is their council was getting so tired of people coming to their council meetings complaining about,
School
so
budget.
Ridgewood, actually, the council turned it back to April, because they didn't want to hear it anymore. So, because people were complaining, like, people come here, we would love if people come here and complain, we'll, know when our board meetings are, send them to our board meetings.
We
Well, I
tried,
just-
I told Dawn to go.
I just don't wanna see the school board election go the way of, the steam engine cars. Just past Saturday, we had the, Churchill Downs had the Kentucky Derby. If there were 1,300 people in the stands instead of several 100,000 people, and everyone tuned in, it wouldn't be on television, and it wouldn't be there anymore. But you have to get people
Yeah, I couldn't.
involved, and you have to let people know about it. So I think if we work together, I think we could put together something that'll encourage everyone to come out to vote, like give everyone $1 for voting. I'm only kidding.
I think having a,
Not making
But-
I think
But
having a public meeting here would help. I really do.
absolutely televised.
Televised,
And
yeah.
listen, we're all guilty. How many of us have you seen at your board meeting where you presented the budget?
Why
No,
don't you,
us, up here,
One person.
I always
our
vote.
liaison,
I was.
I always vote.
our liaison. But I always vote, I would never miss a vote.
I would suggest
read
that
it.
starting, if you can work this out, starting next year in January, come here and do a meeting in January. Let everyone know, there are 2 seats, 3 seats, 1 seat up for election. If you're interested, come on down, sign up and be involved. And also, get ready for the election in April. And then 3 weeks before the election, have another meeting and let everyone know. We're just here to let everyone know the election is coming in 3 weeks.
No, they have to talk about the budget. Go through the, have a public
Election
hearing.
and the budget,
Right.
both,
I'll say time.
the whole thing, just encourage through publicity, through whatever you have to do. Obviously, what we're doing isn't working, because 3% doesn't smell right to me, that only 3% come out and choose to offer their yes or no, or up or down, so.
Yeah.
I think we can work together and make this work, but I'd like to see more than 3%.
So would we.
Okay, Bev, you wanted to speak?
I was
Okay.
just going to answer Mr. Kamala's. Good evening, I'm Bev McKay, Superintendent Rockville Indian Hills. Just to address the comment about putting the information out on our Schoology. So the interesting situation that we have, of course, as a regional district, is we have Wyckoff, the
Could you explain
Wyckoff.
Schoology first to the people that don't have children?
Sure, so Schoology is our school management, our student management system that pretty much everything known to man gets posted out on. I guess it could be the equivalent of, it's a controlled student Facebook, so to speak. It actually has the same type of look as Facebook does, but assignments are posted, students submit assignments through it, all kinds of announcements are put out. You want something known to your student population, it goes out on Schoology. So actually, it's an awesome suggestion to, put this out. But the confusion that we have for our students is that Wyckoff, Franklin Lakes, and the regional districts all vote in November. So Oakland is the only,
Outlier.
yeah, so to put something out, the kids would be like, wait a minute, what's going on with this, So it would be a little bit confusing.
You do have
I
a
think.
board, though. You have an electronic board that you could put it on.
We do.
I think.
And we do also register the kids to vote. I mean, it's actually required
But
now,
we
state
don't,
of
you
New
don't do
Jersey.
that, though.
We don't, no.
No, I guess my question really was, like, I go in and I check my daughter's grades, he's a freshman right now, and I also check my 7th grader's grades. As parents going in there, why can't there be something integrated into that website? Like, we're checking their grades and see what's going on with our children, it just pops up and says, hey, remember, you're 10 days away from the vote, you're 5 days, remember us to vote, or just put some kind of other budget information, just to make the parents that are checking on their children aware that this date is soon coming, and maybe just even a small blurb talking about it. Is that a reasonable
Would
explanation?
you do it through the PTAs?
Because we
Do
put it
through
on the webpage,
PTOs?
but that, sometimes when they're going onto the webpage, they're just
They
going on
glance
for the
and click.
purpose of checking the grades,
Right.
they're not looking at everything that's on the webpage.
Correct,
But if they see a pop-up
right.
when they're going in to look at their child's grade,
Right.
that's something we could certainly cover.
And the other thing
I
I just.
actually didn't even come to speak on this issue. I
No.
came for something
Yeah.
else.
We'll
So
wait
I
till
just thought I'd
afterwards.
chime in.
You're going to speak afterwards, so we'll wait.
I'm quite the audience.
Mayor?
Yes.
I also wanted to build on Councilman Bialy's suggestion. The other thing would also be kind of interesting, especially working with the Oakland Communications Commission, is when you do have your new candidates that are being running for the election, like when we run for election here on the town council, we do a candidate forum where we actually explain who we are, what our platform is, who we're about, so that the public can get to know who we are. If there's a way that when your candidates come up, same way, do that quick introduction It's about 3 minutes, and it airs for the next 2 weeks before the election, or the month leading up to that. I think it might be a way of really connecting with the members of the board, or even introducing yourselves and, being more involved. I'm Mr. Gaffney, this is who I am. I mean, it's just a way of perhaps getting the word out and building interest in the community so that they, even if you educate them, this is what we do, this is our budget. I mean, even an overview, they can go on public access and it goes out on YouTube. I mean, we're pushing it out
But
everywhere.
when was the last time you had a contested election?
Last, not,
3 years ago.
Yeah,
I think
that's the
it was-
difference.
No, but we can still introduce the candidate.
in
You know,
2018.
I'm John Skirbo. I've been a trustee for the past 15 years.
Mr. Scarborough, can you just give me 1 second?
Yeah.
I just want to touch on something Ms. McKay said.
Yeah.
So, I don't have kids, so I'm not savvy to all the schoolology and all this other stuff that you have. So, but you mentioned that Franklin Lakes and Wyckoff, their elections are in November,
And the regional.
and the regional. So again, being a little naive to this whole thing, I'm just curious, why are they not trying to change theirs to April? I mean, we're the Flow area, the Wolf area, so we're all kind of similar, but yet we're an outlier with the local election. And out of the 70 towns in the county, how many of them are November versus April?
We had that.
Because I don't know the number, I know we talked about it, I don't remember.
Do we know that?
We had, I think it was 3.
3 what?
I thought there were 3,
Three and.
we were down, what was
No,
it?
we
Oakville.
increased. Oakland, Cliffside
5,
Park,
Ridgewood,
Hackensack,
Sackett,
Ridgewood.
Park,
It's probably-
Garfield.
It's probably 5 to 7.
5.
I thought it was
about
7.
5 to 7.
I think
Out of
it's
70,
8,
yeah.
I think
Thought it was
it's 7.
All right,
Yeah,
so we'll just settle on 10, just in case. But
10%.
So why are the other 60 the other way? This is where my mind goes. I'm like, why are we doing something different than the majority of the county, and something different to our sister towns being Franklin Lakes and Wyckoff?
Well, I
If you could
think what we
explain.
could say to that is, when the moratorium went into place, there were a lot of towns wanting to come back as soon as the 4 years were over, moving back to April. We attend a lot of meetings through the New Jersey School Boards Association, and that's a common theme about moving back or making changes again. We've always believed that the community has always been there for support and to look at our budget and make a decision on it. We've been very fortunate. The last 15 years that I've been on the board, only one time has it been defeated, and that was my very first year in 2005. And there was a referendum going on. People got confused, and that went down, and that's the only time it's gone down in the last 15 years. We work very closely, not only with you, but with our PTAs, our PTOs, our Oakland Education Foundation, to try to get the word out. But we believe in education. And what we're running into in conversations with other towns is this: it's not about education anymore. It's about politics. Where do I fall on the ballot? What line do I run under? Should I be putting a candidate up because I'm a Republican and we really need to get somebody on that Board of Ed that's a Republican, or even a Democrat? What we focus on is education and providing the best education to every child in Oakland. And we've been very fortunate. My kids have come through this school. My last child is graduating from Delaware this year. My son is in law school. I'm proud of where they came
Good for
from.
him.
And they're doing a wonderful job, and I recognize the fact it's because of what we provide in the way of education to our children here. And people are moving to Oakland for 2 reasons. They believe that the education program here in town is the tops, and we are a high-rated district, and we have been for a long time. The other is we have a tremendous recreation program. And people love the fact that they can bring a family here and raise a family in a community where they can get the best education and have the opportunities that are provided by the town. What we're running into is, there's not a lot of candidates for the school board, but there's not a lot of candidates for the mayor and council either. I think you have a hard time finding people. We spend a lot of time, this isn't just you're volunteering one night a week. We speak every day to the superintendent. We're involved as a 5-member board it's a board of the whole. You cover every area. I'm the liaison to the mayor and council. I'm the finance chair. I'm the technology. But I work closely with each member, and we don't just have these separate meetings. We work together to discuss issues in those particular areas. You guys have a hard time finding candidates. I'm sure people don't want to come out and spend as much time as we do on the Board of Education when you don't get a paycheck. You're volunteering, and you're here a lot of nights and late nights. But that's why we volunteer, and that's why you run for the positions you have.
You have a passion to do what you want to do to improve the town, and that's exactly what we provide as well. Education is our top priority. When we start to hear about politics getting involved in other towns and how votes go and who comes up as candidates, we don't need that. We have a relationship here that's very unique to most towns. You do a wonderful job of what you do, and we do a wonderful job of
Well,
what we do.
thank you.
And I do believe that this town is a wonderful community. I grew up in Ramsey, and I don't know if you guys know this, but my father was the mayor of Ramsey for 16 years, a councilman for 6. I know this world inside and out. It's not easy. But he also was the president of the Board of Education in Little Ferry before he moved to Ramsey, and that job wasn't easy. And it hasn't been easy for us for a budget either. We've tried to stay at 2% or less the last 5 years, and we've been very aggressive at looking at the budget. But, you know, we have a lot of people coming here because they know that they can get the best education possible, especially if there's a special needs situation. That's one of the biggest things that's hit our budget in the last few years. We've actually gone from 18, probably about 6 years ago, to 34 students that are out of district because of special needs. We don't have enough facilities to keep children here in district, so they have to go out. These are things that affect our budget, but we got to try to find a way to make sure that every child gets the best education possible. So we look at that budget closely, we work hard at it to keep it as to the 2% as possible. This year, we were slightly over for the first time in a while. But we're proud about the budget that we roll out every year because we work together as a team to make sure it's fiscally responsible to everybody. And what we do recognize the fact is, one of the reasons why our homes are as valuable as they are today is because of the community, the education, and the rec program. So working together to get more people out to build would be ideal. We've always worked together as a team. We've never had issues, and I do appreciate the time that we have here tonight. But we can
We
make
thank
it,
you for coming.
we can get
Thank
the
you for coming.
turnout for sure at a higher level. But again, we're here for the educational portion of it, and if we can work together to get more people out, that would be wonderful.
Okay, John, I just want to share with you, one of the objections you had about the November was the political end of it. And more than once, I've been down to John Hogan's office, the county clerk, to ask him, and he has told me he's researching every other community throughout the country to see how they keep the Board of Education, when it is held on election day, away from the political end of a municipal or state or federal government election.
Yeah.
He says there are ways, he's gonna try some new things in the years to come, but he's gonna try to make sure that they isolate the Board of Education from,
Yeah, I mean, that would be helpful, because really what happens is, as you probably all know, at some point, you know, you're tied to a political party, you tend to go down the line, and then, you know, you keep going down, wherever you are, you may be in a certain line, and that's what people see.
right.
You know,
I agree with you 100%
yeah,
on that.
and if there's a way to make it different, and to be honest with you, if there's a question, we're actually below the question. And how many people go past the question these days? I mean, and to be honest with you, the questions are confusing enough, then all of a sudden there's the candidates. The other thing is, and I don't know if you're aware of this, last year in November, actually a school board put out a budget at 5%, used all the waivers possible. The town was in a mighty uproar because they had no way to vote on it. It was automatically passed. And that's what happened because they moved it to November.
Excuse me, I just want to ask a question.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you guys are, stupid blue button. You mentioned
Press
that
that button.
I did. Push it.
So you have Franklin Lakes and Wyckoff are doing their vote in November? Is that correct? Have you spoken to them, or do they want to keep it that way? Have they expressed a desire to put it back to April?
I can only speak for the regional high school district. We've had no conversations at all about moving the election to April.
The regional high schools, I guess, are you okay with it being in April or November? Do you not
Yeah.
care?
I'm fine with it the way it is. I mean, I guess.
Do you have
Why
an
don't you come
objection
to-
to it being in November?
Yeah, the mic is on.
They can't hear you over there, they can only hear you.
Do I have any personal objection? No, I have no personal objections to it. I really don't personally care when it is, but I can say that even though it's in November, I would never want anyone to think that we don't also go line by line through our budget. I almost feel like we're more careful than ever because, you know, taxpayers do tend to ask a lot of questions when they don't have a vote. They're more likely to ask you a question because they can't have a vote. So personally, no, I don't have a personal feeling. Ours has always been, since we were able to move it, it's been in November, and
What-
you know, it's been fine.
What precipitated the regional district moving to November?
I couldn't answer that because I was not, I didn't have part of that. It was at the time when pretty much everybody.
That was
in the-
before you.
Everybody in the county pretty much moved at the same time.
Okay.
I think all but 3 at that time, and now a few have moved back. So, yeah.
I just have one other question. I don't know if you can answer it or Mr. Serbell. Obviously, just like we have our League of Municipalities, you have your School Boards Association. What kind of guidance does the School Board Association give you as far as this election, keeping it here or moving it? Did they take a position on it?
Well, last year, when I was the president of the Bergen County School, I was vice president last year, put together an ad hoc committee of the executive members to talk to different districts that were in November, talk to the districts that were in April, and see why the vote in November, that's where I found out about the ballots, where the mail-in ballots, the school board was on the back. The districts had a lot of, like John said before, separating the two votes. And they were trying to find out and get solid data on why it should be moved and what the different districts felt that they should do. I'm not going to lie to you, not everyone wants to come back. Because, again, as a school board member, and I've talked to school board members that look at me and say, why would you want to go back? It makes your job harder. You know, why would you want to do that? You know, it's easy now. We just get it out there and we do our due diligence, but we don't have to worry. You know, we're not sitting in the superintendent's office on a Tuesday night waiting for every district to come back in to see how we did. So it makes it a little bit less stressful for a school board member. They're still doing their work and they're still doing everything they have to. You know, we just, in Oakland, since day one, we prided ourselves on not doing what everybody else was doing. Because again, what was right for Town X didn't make it right for Oakland. And we really believe that. And we really, our hearts were in the fact of, you know, and Dr. Gaffaro was going to, you know, indulge you for a couple of minutes about the educational part, the educational component of, you know, in the New Jersey curriculum of civics and how important it is to teach our students the right to vote. And it's not, you know, if you don't use it, you lose it. You know, it shouldn't be like that. That our students need to know the importance of elections and know that their town of Oakland is an example of a town, one of the few, that affords them the right to vote and have a say in how their parents' taxpayers' money spent.
Just a follow-up question. Is your board pretty much 100% behind keeping it how it is? So your board your governing body wants to keep it out
Yes,
right now?
100%.
Nobody's against it at this point?
100%.
Thank you.
Dr. Carter, you want something? Just talk.
Thank you. It is always a privilege to see you, Mayor.
Yes, and it's always a
be
privilege
with
to
all
see
the
you.
council.
And I'll see you soon in graduation.
Yes, looking forward to it, and the council members, and we've had numerous conversations, and, you know, when you go into the work that all of you do, and to the work that we do as educators, and every year when we present the budget and we build the budget, I always say publicly, everything we do has the face of a child or a student in front of us. Nothing we do is driven by anything other than doing the right thing, because you want to provide and not only an incredible education, but beyond that, you want to provide an education that's going to prepare our students at the K-8 so they can go to the high school level and understand the importance of being good citizens, being good academically, having strong character. You were at that meeting on February 15th, and I am going to share publicly that we are getting very good news about Valley Middle School and being selected for a National School of Character.
That was a great
So
meeting, yes.
these are the great things that we do in the Oakland community, and we don't do it separate, we do it together. And the 5 board members that have represented the Board of Education, very much like all of you representing the town council, dedicate thousands of hours and time because they care. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank them, because the work that they've done in partnership with the town council in researching and taking the time to think about what is right to do, not only for the adults in the community, but for the children. Because at the end of the day, when we go home and we make the decisions that we make, it's always going back to that. How do we model for the future generations? And how do we make that great difference, and how do you lead and make a difference from the heart? And yes, we have our mandates and our requirements, and I thought I would share one of the most important mandates, and I know, it's coincidental that Ms. McKay is here with us this evening, but it's actually perfect. But the state, it's in state statute and state code. It's part of the New Jersey Student Learning Standards that we teach civics, and that we provide our students with the highly important lessons on respecting government and understanding the processes of government. And if you could indulge me, I'll just read directly from the citation in the standards link. A 2-year course of study in history is mandated for all students. Such course of study shall include instruction in 1, the principles and ideals of the American form of representative government as expressed in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States, and particularly in the Bill of Rights. 2, the history of the origin and growth of the social, economic, and cultural development of the United States, of American family life, and of the high standard of living and other privileges enjoyed by the citizens of the United States. And 3, such other events in the history of the United States as will tend to instill into every girl and boy a determination to preserve these principles and ideals as those of citizens of the United States, and an appreciation of their solemn duty and obligation to exercise the privilege of the ballot upon their reaching voting age, to the end that said principles and ideals may so be preserved. The history presented into the state of New Jersey. This is part of the civic lesson. Local school boards shall provide a voter registration form, a summary of eligibility requirements, and material describing the role of the citizen and the importance of voting prior to graduation from high school. So it is not only a great conversation to have here as elected officials, but it's beyond the point of being an elected official. It's beyond what we're doing to model for our students. And without being too long-winded and going into it, it talks very clearly about making sure our students understand, most importantly, that their voices matter. Whether it's 460-something people coming out to vote or 1, whether it's 175 voices saying no, their voices matter. And as an educator, everything we do, we teach our children, we want them to have the voice, to be able to articulate into adulthood and to become citizens in their community and to pay it forward and make that great difference. And I credit our Board of Education and I credit the governing body of the Township of Oakland to be able to come together and have that conversation. Some may agree, some may not agree, but at the end of the day, you always do what's right because it's always going to take you back full circle to the students. So from an educator's perspective, I thank the board because they have put so much time, way before my arrival here in Oakland, and they've been so passionate about doing the right thing because it's always about what they represent, which is the community and the students of the township.
And
So-
just to beat on, I've always complimented the schools. I have 3 sons who went through the entire public school system in Oakland and went to Indian Hills. They got into good colleges, actually they got into great colleges, and they always said to me when they got into their schools, Mom, we're so prepared. I mean, and these are good schools, and yet they just got such a great education. I thank the local board, and I thank the regional. And I coach the mock trial up at Indian Hills High School, the attorney coach. And I am amazed at the caliber of the students. I met with the student council. Again, the leadership skills that we are promoting, it's just incredible. I love the schools here. I love the regional. I think it's fabulous. I think our residents are very, very lucky. The bottom line is, how are we going to get more people out to voice their opinion? That's the bottom line. So we have to work together.
Mayor, so,
And please take advantage of our
John just put it in.
invitation to use our
We absolutely
council
will.
chambers.
We're fortunate because we have it's unique here in Oakland, that we
Yes.
can model for the community about having that dialogue. And,
Oh, I love, when we have meetings, we disagree, but then we agree that we disagree, and we work together. All the meetings we work
But
together.
you'll have to be prepared to go to the ShopRite and spend an extra hour there.
Yes.
Once you
I
get
live there
on before the public.
Yes.
already happening.
Absolutely.
thank you. Yep, the floor is yours.
I don't know if I have a whole lot to add to the discussion already, but I came here, so I figured I'd take an opportunity to introduce
Well,
myself to the folks in TV land and the
TV
council
land.
here.
My name is Pete Mazzelli. I'm the newest member of the board, and just to reinforce the answer to Eric's question, yeah, we're unanimous in our thinking on, keeping the election in April as opposed to moving to November. Personally, it's, the political side of it is a really important debate, debatable on whether that can be addressed or not. I think what's not debatable is taking away the right for people to vote on the budget. I really don't believe that this is a ratio type of a discussion where, okay, how many dollars are we spending per vote that we're getting, and if we want to get more people, how much more money do we spend? The object is to get as many people at polls as possible, and if people don't come, then they lose their voice. But it's not a use it or lose it, as Jim said, type of an environment that we're in here, in any situation where in a democracy where we vote. I feel very strongly about that. So I think that frames the conversation, the discussion, I think, improperly. What I think is, it is easier for us to move it. We're scratching and clawing for every dollar that we can, to provide the quality education that our children deserve, and to do it in a financially responsible way. 21 grand, a $21,000 haircut is an easy decision, if there weren't any principles or any reason to be spending that money. So I think, it demonstrates the sincerity of the board, I think, to say, hey, this is really what we think is best for the community and what we think is best for the kids going. Someday I'm not going to be on the Board of Education, maybe soon. I mean, after tonight, it might be soon, but and I'm going to want to vote on the budget. I mean, that's, so to take it away in my own interest now, to say, okay, let's save some money because I'm on the board and I want to say we've saved some money doing that, when I'm not on the board and now I don't have that ability to vote on the budget, I think is a really important principle that at least guides,
Well,
my
thank you, because we
thinking. So-
wanted to hear your voice too, so
Yeah.
thank you.
So I appreciate it, so, thanks.
I think Councilman Knapp had something to say.
You do?
I did, but John butted in before.
Oh,
Yeah.
John.
I heard him do that, by the way.
So, again, I'm not convinced one way or another, so I'd like to know, if somebody can reiterate the rules or the policies of the 2% cap. So if we don't vote on this in April, what do we risk by it going to November versus by voting in April?
If it's under 2%, we don't vote on the budget.
This is for everybody.
No. You want to know about moving it to April. Could you explain to Councilman Knapp,
Everybody else knows. but you-
moving it from April to November?
I didn't expect to speak.
Well, there you
Please
are.
do, go ahead.
I'm Annette Wells, I'm the business administrator. I'm happy to be here in Oakland.
Thank you.
I came from Montgomery Township in Somerset County, and I've been here since February 11th. So hopefully I can answer your question. So there is a 2% cap on the tax levy. However, there are some exceptions to that rule. So if a school district's health benefit line goes up a drastic amount from the prior year, the allowance is anything over 2% up to the amount of the state plan increase is what is allowable for a school district to go over that 2% cap. That's the main waiver that most school districts will use. That's the easier one for people to have. There are some other exemptions or exceptions. There's, if you have a higher enrollment, an increase in enrollment, there's some other waivers. Mr. Cohen over here, I know, can answer, being an auditor. We've worked together previously, so. But there are other exceptions to the rule. So it's not a cut and dry, it's a 2%. And I think some people may feel that. So, as it was said, that 2.88 that we increased this year, we would have been able to do that without a vote. And I appreciate that Oakland does feel that people have to have a say in what we do with our budget.
Okay,
So,
that was one thing, thank you, I appreciate
You're
the
welcome.
explanation.
do you have any other financial questions while I'm standing?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. And the other thing is just a statement. Everybody there made great points. And again, I'm not telling you I'm November, I'm not telling you I'm April. I'm telling you I'm still learning, educating myself. Everything I think you all said would still happen if the vote was in November. I don't think that we would be cheating our kids. I don't think we would be cheating the borough of Oakland. I understand that the civics lessons, we're not taking the option for the students to vote away. They would just do it in November instead of doing it in April. So
But not on
that
the
part,
budget. Not on the
I
budget.
think part
no,
of.
no, not on the budget. I'm not saying the budget, but that would, we weren't, the civic lesson was not voting on the budget, it was voting in general. So you would still have the opportunity to vote come November versus April. That's all I'm saying.
I think, Bob, for part of what, another one, it's like the button police here. I think, you know, one of the things that they're talking about, and, you know, please stop me if I'm wrong, you know, is that right now, the county is not set up on the general elections, is not set up to accommodate school board voting properly. And so that's a problem for them. And they're right, it becomes political, it becomes, you know, you're gonna have to be under one line or another line.
No, I heard all that. I
And, right,
understand all
that's a logistics problem that the county would have to address before that even goes away. So I do understand where they're coming from with this.
Again, I
And
didn't,
and to clarify,
yeah.
yes, they can vote on other elections,
Mhm.
but in the townships where you live, what elections, what opportunity do they have to vote other than the school board election, if you really think about it?
You have to come over here so they can hear. The television can't pick up over there.
To clarify, civics lessons involves the right voting.
Correct.
To clarify my point is, when they vote on the school budget, or passing or not passing, or it's not just about the candidates, there's other elections they can vote in, but when you look at the opportunity to have a say in how the taxpayers are spending their money, what other election or opportunity do they have in the community other than the school board election, the school board budget vote? So that was the point we were trying to clarify. So yes, our students eventually, when they turn 18 and to adulthood, they can vote, presidential election, local election, that's part of the civics lesson. But when we are speaking tonight, this evening specifically about the school board election, that was the comparison I was trying to make.
All right.
So I hope that clarifies.
So I just, a procedural question. If you move it to November, you have to keep it there for 4 years, but if you're in April, you can move it at any time? There's no,
No.
If you move it to, say,
that's what you decide, all right, that's it, we're
before,
moving it
it's
to November.
2019, we couldn't talk about it till 2023,
So it'd stay in November.
for 4 years. So
Now, what happens,
we could decide that it was a bad move, we shouldn't have done it, but we're stuck for 4 years.
now what happens in an April election? You could say next year we're going to move it?
In other words, next year you can
Once
say
you
we
move
wanna
it.
have it in November
Yeah.
next year.
But you're stuck for 4 years.
Yeah, but you're not stuck in April for 4 years.
No.
You see, to me, this whole statute, when they enacted it, it was just too ambiguous. It was just, it should have been, I just think the legislators did us a disservice.
Mayor?
But you guys agree?
I don't
That they did us a
disagree.
disservice, the
She
legislators.
doesn't disagree with, that means you guys agree.
We agree, we of course agree.
I always agree with the superintendent.
Just to speak to your point, Mr. Knapp, yes, people will still be able to vote for the candidates, you know, in November. That's every 3 years, and it's not every candidate is on the ballot every year. The budget, you vote every single year, and even if you are upset with the budget passing because you couldn't vote for it in November, you don't have a whole lot of recourse other than to perhaps find somebody to run for the board, because we don't get a lot of opposition to begin with, and then, and you're stuck with whatever that budget is. So I think, you know, the real important point is the accountability and the ability for the town to have a voice on how the large chunk of their property taxes are spent, so.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yeah, just jump in.
Oh, I just want to say, first I want to commend the board and the superintendent with the civics classes that you're currently educating the children in the middle school. I can tell you that in talking to a lot of my peers and friends, they do not provide civics to the level that they are in Oakland. and you need to be commended on that. My daughter just finished the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. They're currently moving on to learning about the judiciary in 7th grade. It's absolutely amazing. The other thing is as Mr. Serbo had said, that, you know, the pillars of this community are really predicated on our school system, our rec program, and all the services that we provide as both school and governing body, you know, with all our people that work here. And I'd hate to be in a position to move this for something that's currently working very well. And I think that you're doing your due diligence, and it does certainly give the residents, and makes it you guys accountable by having the ability to vote. Now, I certainly do agree with the fact that if there's anything we can do to certainly encourage more people to come out to vote, I think that's a home run all the way. So I just want to simply say, you guys are doing a great job as a parent, and you know, when I talk to other people, they're amazed with the education, the value proposition we're getting here, and that's why people are moving to Oakland. And it's funny, because when I do talk to people in town, I've seen new residents tell me, why'd you move to Oakland? Usually it's because we came here for the schools for our children. Thank you.
Thank you.
I congratulate you
Our
also on
chambers
the-
are always open, the television is always open to you.
But I'd like to congratulate you guys on offering the civic responsibility to the students. And what you should do is take that class and send it down to Washington DC.
Maybe start with Trenton, you know,
Either
before you
both.
get to Washington DC.
Our children can teach us. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Let me just say thank you to you guys too, just being the liaison to the Board of Education. I mean, I was there a few years myself. It's one of the proudest things I've ever been a part of, the Oakland Board of Education. A great group of people, great bunch of teachers, great bunch of kids, great, the custodians, really. The Oakland Board of Education, I can't say enough about it. I'm so proud that I was a part of it, and thank you for coming here tonight.
I don't know if you know, my husband was on the school board when it was Superintendent Kazantzak. How long
I
ago?
came across some old papers and going through.
You see his name, yes. But thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, Mayor, one more thing, because these are Russ's peers. I just want to point out it's Russ's birthday today. He's 49 years old. So happy birthday, Russ. I figure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. You could please stay, especially during the open portion, because I know our superintendent of regional wants to speak. So I'm going to entertain a motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you
On
for
the air.
coming, and this is a surprise.
Again, Deb McKay, Superintendent, Rampo Indian Hills. So I was getting out of my car, this was quite a surprise. I really didn't expect tonight to be part of a school board meeting and a borough council meeting. But good evening to all of you. And I really am I just came by to say thank you for the support that you all give to our 2 high schools throughout the year. This time of year, I like to try to stop in at the Borough Council, Township, I was in Wyckoff Township Committee meeting last night, because it really is important to our, 2 high schools to have the support of our governing bodies in the 3 communities. And it's difficult sometimes, being a regional, and we're dealing with the 3 different communities, but I can tell you that to see you come out to our plays, to our concerts, to our athletic events. The students love seeing you all. I know some of you are also parents and, in our schools. And if you're not a parent, you still come back to our plays and concerts and athletic events. As Mayor Schwager mentioned a couple of weeks ago, she was kind enough to join us at a student council meeting.
That's great.
One of the things we're doing with our student council this year, the leadership, is we've invited the mayors from the 3 different municipal governments in. And, they're different because Wyckoff is a township and this is a borough. And it's surprising for the students to hear that they're actually different. They select their mayor in a different way. They have different structures as far as planning boards and zoning boards. And so it's really been a great lesson for the students, and to Mayor Schwager, thank you so much.
It was my
It was
pleasure.
really a great conversation. They come up with all kinds of questions. Why does Oakland have 19 pizza places and however many nail salons is what they wanted to know. But actually the question, it was interesting because it stemmed from the zoning board and planning board and wanting to know whether there's actually limits on the types of businesses you can actually have in a community. So it actually had some thought behind it. But I just wanted to really thank you all for the time that you put into our schools, because without the partnership between all of you and our school boards, the students wouldn't be getting the education that they do. So thank you so much for the time, and not only being here, but also spending time with our students at the high schools.
No, it's our
We
pleasure.
thank you for your
Thank you.
efforts also. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your dedication, especially the Board of Education also. Thank you for your
Thank you.
dedication. to the
Well, we're
county.
still in the open portion, if anybody wants to speak about anything. I guess not.
Mayor.
Therefore,
Mayor, sorry, I would like to make something from the public, just as a coach, not as a councilman. I just wanna,
oh, sure.
all right, thank you. Sorry, it's just a little.
Yeah.
You're gonna wear a hat?
Yes, I'm gonna wear a hat, yes. I'm here representing,
State your name.
Russell Talamini, Seminole Avenue. I'm here representing the 11U travel baseball team, for, Oakland. They go to Cooperstown every year, and,
Right.
11U is going, not this summer, next summer, and they're raising money. And so they asked me to make an announcement. The 11U team will be we're selling, Yankee tickets for the June 21st, Yankee game versus the Astros at 7 PM. It's a Friday night. They're $60 a piece. If you're interested, you could contact Lorraine at 201-981-1794. 201-981-1794.
Wait a minute, they usually come around and solicit to the businesses, and they come into my law office. That means I don't have to give?
If you want to buy lots of tickets, you can buy lots of tickets. But we're taking donations,
Oh.
and.
They'll come around, I'm
but
sure.
They'll come around, but everyone's at everyone's at a game tonight. The coaches they're all coaching, the parents are at the game. My son got a hit. If you noticed, I was checking my text, I'm sorry. But my son got a hit tonight, so, and.
June
but
21st game?
And next,
June 21st.
and next meeting, we have the basketball team, right? It's the basketball.
The first meeting
this-
of June.
Yeah, we're gonna have
First week
them
of June.
come
Oh,
and
well,
get certificates.
Thank you very much. So anyone that could help support us, we'd greatly appreciate it. Thank
We
you.
appreciate your dedication. Thank you.
We like that.
Yeah. Anybody else? Well, let's get out of the open portion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now, I think you have to do you have any more business, or do you have to adjourn officially?
I make a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye. Oh, wait.
Wow.
I don't have a hat, though.
Thank you.
Thank you
Again,
very
thank
much.
you. And thank you,
I'm
Bev.
leaving
Thank you.
with the board.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Approval
you.
of the
Have a really
minutes.
good
We have
evening.
minutes from the March 23rd budget meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Biallo.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pinisali.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Minutes from the April 2nd, 2019 budget meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Biallo.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pinisali.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
April 10th, 2019 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? None? Roll call.
Councilman Biallo.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pinisali.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
April 24th meeting.
So
So moved.
Oh,
Second.
any discussion? None? Good. Roll call.
Councilman Biallo.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
I think you got it.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pinisali.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Now, the next 2 minutes of the April 2nd executive
So
session.
moved.
Second.
Will there be any discussion? Seeing none? Roll call.
Councilman Biallo.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pinisali.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
April 10th
So moved.
executive.
It hasn't given the date yet.
Second.
April 10th.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Biallo.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pinisali.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Okay, so now we have special announcement. Raffle license RL 1359 for the Parents Athletic Committee of Indian Hills, on premise 50/50.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's on March 16th.
Second.
March 16th.
Second.
we got a first, we got a second, we got a
So
motion,
mo-
a second,
we
everybody's
have to have a
rushing.
so
Yeah,
moved.
I
Whoa.
know, everyone's rushing.
Any opposed? Okay, second one, raffle license 1360. This is also on May 16th for the Parents Athletic Committee of Indian Hills.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, not roll call, all in favor?
Aye.
Any,
Dissent.
and thank you. Wow, everybody's rushing. Okay, we have an appointment, we have someone who's interested in being appointed to public events. So, her name is Andrea Levy. She's, Andrea, no, she's not related, everybody asked me, no, there's no relation.
Same now.
She is the producer, she was the producer and director of the Flow Follies for the regional. And she's in marketing, so she, and works with children, and she
Yeah,
works
she's
with
definitely
adults.
not related to me then.
And not related, that is a good point. So I nominate Andrea Levy for public events, 3-year appointment.
So
Good.
moved.
No, it's a mayor appointment.
No, it's not.
Oh, no?
No.
So moved.
Second.
Wait, I think I get the so moved on that one.
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Net.
He's abstaining right now,
Council-
Why?
because he's not here.
Oh.
Oh.
He went
Councilman,
that way. Are you
Oh,
okay?
I'm sorry, yes.
Mhm.
Did he vote?
No, Bob can't
He's
vote.
not
Well,
here.
you're not here, you didn't,
I didn't hear you call Eric, I'm sorry, yes.
okay. Councilman Kamala.
Just a question, is that, she's for both OCC and public events?
No, we'll
This
do
is
one
for
at a time.
public events.
Public
Okay,
events.
yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp, do you want to vote on Andrea Levy for public
Not
events?
related to Lou Levy.
Oh, then he'll vote yes now.
Yes, now.
Okay, all right. And for Oakland Communications Commission, again, she's in marketing, so this is, she was very excited. And Andrea Levy for the alternate 3-year appointment.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, no, the unexpired term,
Okay.
I'm sorry, we changed it to make sure it's the unexpired term replacing Anders Hessler. All
So
right,
moved.
Second.
roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Now, we have the public hearing on the budget as introduced. And so, is there a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone in the public that wishes to speak on the budget? I guess I'll ask for a motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So now look at your table for Resolution 19153, Budget Amendment. And this was introduced on April 10th. It's for the year 2019. And it is revenues that had to be amended. Sustainable New Jersey, this $2,000 grant, and the cap appropriation. So, do you want to explain anything, Councilman Talamini, since you're finance chair?
No, if David would have to, would like to add something, he could.
Yeah, under the appropriations, we needed to increase the PFRS. So we increased PFRS and took insurance down a little bit, so it was net neutral to the total budget, just moved the funds around.
Okay. Any other questions? Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion?
This is just on this, that's not.
Just
not
on
the budget.
Resolution 19153.
Okay, thank you.
This is the budget amendment. Okay, roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Now, on the table was Resolution 140. It is long like this. It is called, upon adoption for year 2019, budget. Everybody see that? That is Resolution 140.
That's our budget.
This is the budget.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Was there two motions, or you got the second?
Second.
You got it? Any discussion? If there's no discussion, roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
No.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Okay, now we have resolutions. We'll do them as a consent agenda unless you want any pulled out. Resolution 19-141 is to oppose the power plant. As you know, it's the Diamond Generating Corporation subsidiary of Mitsubishi, and this is the one that has been in discussion for quite a few meetings. 19-142, authorize the wellness program. As you know, we're a member of the Bergen Municipal Health Insurance, and this will support the purposes of employee wellness program. We received a $10,000 grant, and it's to help employees learn about good health. 19-144, authorize accrued time payout for Gary Gustafson, a retiring police officer. And it's all outlined for his time accumulated in the amount of $48,296.04. 19-145, authorized dedication by Ryder Recycling Containers, and it is the recycling container program, and that is 19-145. 19-146, authorize the contract with Geotechnical Services for Fire Company 1. This has to do with the garage, but not the actual garage, the soil. It's the ground level. 19-147, grant submittal for the tennis court resurfacing, and it's for a matching grant, and it's for $8,250. Resolution 19-148, it's a grant submittal for flood buyout, Phase 3, the floodplain protection program. And these are it's on, the project area is Lenape Lane, number 18 Lenape Lane, block 1404, lot 9, 19 Lenape Lane, block 1606, lot 40, 20 Lenape Lane, block 1404, lot 8, 21 Lenape Lane, block 1606, lot 39, 22 Lenape Lane, block 1404, lot 7. 19-149 is to amend the salary of the CFO as per agreed, and it will be starting effective January 26, 2019. Debbie Young's salary shall be $87,000. 19-150, authorized preliminary plan expenses, inflow and infiltration project, and it is from Capital Improvement Fund for the amount of $20,000. 19-151, this is a shared service agreement, the electrical inspector, and it deals with the desire to share the services of our electrical subcode official and electrical inspector as provided in Bloomingdale. And 19-152, authorized refund of taxes due to overpayment, block 402, lot 42, Robert Schlossberg, in the amount of $2,441.34. Refund shall be sent to Wells Fargo Real Estate Tax Service. Any wish to pull out?
146?
141?
All right, 146 and 141. Any others? Okay, let's go back to 140, let's go back to everything else. 142, 144, 145, 147, 148, 149, 150, 151,
So moved.
152.
Second.
And is there a second and roll call?
Councilman Bialy?
Yes.
Councilman Knapp?
Yes.
Councilman Kamala?
Yes.
Councilman Levy?
Yes.
Councilman Pinkatelli?
Yes?
Councilman Calhoun?
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to 19-141, opposed power plant.
Yeah, I want to recuse myself from the vote.
Okay, so
Because
let's,
of my
all right, is there a
involvement.
motion for 141?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Councilman Bialy?
Abstain.
Councilman Knapp?
Yes.
Councilman Kamala?
Yes.
Councilman Levy?
Yes.
Councilman Pinkatelli?
Yes.
Councilman Calhoun?
Yes.
Okay, now let's go to resolution 9146, authorized geotechnical services, Fire Company 1. Councilman Kamala.
Thank you, Mayor. This is just a question for Councilman Knapp. Are we still on budget with this, and how is this affecting what's going on with the shed, or lack of a better word, the garage? I mean, where are we in the project?
So we just had a meeting with myself, the chief, Rich, and the architect. The budget number you remember was what?
I remember 250.
Right, so we're probably gonna be close to 50,000 under budget.
So it's coming in at $200,000?
It's coming in at close to 50,000 under budget.
So where is it right now?
Well, right now, we have to do this soil test before we can proceed.
Okay. And also, when this comes forward, are you going to be sharing the plans and everything with the council?
Yeah, there's no secret.
Okay.
Why wouldn't we?
You're not gonna
So-
keep it a secret?
So I guess my question is, what is it, what's it coming in at, just ballpark wise, Bob?
Price-wise,
Yeah,
it's gonna be around 200.
it's $200,000.
But we're having a couple alternates put in. So right now, what's our architect's name?
It's on there.
It's on Dressel.
Dan, right, I'm sorry, Dan. Sorry, Dan. He's in the process of getting this done, and then we're gonna be drawing up the bid spec.
Okay. And what kind of alternates are you looking at, just out of curiosity? Did something change?
No, nothing changed, just different possibilities. I don't have them off the top of my head right now.
Very good,
Well,
thank you.
maybe at the next meeting, you can ask for the information, excuse me, ahead of time, so that Councilman Knapp will have it ready for you, instead of, at this point, we're talking about the soil.
Very good, thank you.
So, is there a motion for 19146?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
I'm going to abstain.
Councilman Kamala.
Abstain?
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
All right, we do not have any ordinances tonight, work session. Planning Board request amend ordinance 07, code 560. I was told you're going to speak, our attorney, because you've been so quiet.
I've been so quiet, yeah, that must be it. The planning board attorney, Joe Russo, brought to our attention that there was a glitch in the ordinance establishing the R4 zone. And for some reason, it made all the bulk standards conditional use standards. So if there was a deviation from that standard, then it would have to go to the Board of Adjustment. In speaking with the planner and looking over it, and doing a little research from my office, we don't know where that came from. So it seems to be an aberration, because typically if you have a deviation from a bulk standard and you're dealing with the site plan or subdivision, it would stay with the planning board. Suggestion of the planning board is that the RA4 zone was created with regard to the subdivisions they're dealing with. So we've prepared an ordinance to delete that section, that it would no longer be a conditional use if there's a deviation from the bulk standard. You have the letter from Mr. Russo along with a copy of the ordinance that we prepared.
Okay, thank you.
So, I mean, I would just put it on for the next meeting unless there's any questions or concern.
Any new business, old business, council committees?
Oh, slow down.
Well, we're starting with you.
Well, no, you didn't, you flew right past new business.
Oh, you have new
He
business?
has new business.
Yeah, so years ago, I spoke to you, actually, Mayor, about, before I was elected, about coming up with a borough policy for our flags.
Yes.
I'd like to pursue that now, because we need to solidify when our flags are up, when our flags are down. I know there's the military or the federal government, I guess, dictates some things. But a lot of
federal.
people have said that there's, we are the Borough of Oakland, and if we want to honor one of our resident or borough officials or whatever, that we should have the right to do that. So whether we do or we don't, I want to meet with the department heads of every department within the borough, and I'm thinking either ask Pat or John to be on the committee with me, as they're part of the Legion. And what I've seen happen in the past is the flags go down for certain things, depending on who you are, not what your title was.
Not what you want.
Right, so the names need to come out of play, it needs to be title-driven and situational-driven. So, I have it all written out already.
And I think you also have to research federal law and state law.
Well, that's what I want to do as a group, so that's what I'm looking for you to do.
Okay.
Good idea, Bob.
All right, Jay, you go ahead.
That's all.
You could be chair of a committee. Well, speaking of that, this is the right time for me to say this. Did you know that this month is Military Appreciation Month? And there is a ceremony on Friday, May 17th at 12:30 p.m., thanking all our troops and veterans who've served. And it's at the County Administration Building. I cannot attend because I'm going to be learning about the state labs and DWI.
I'll be
So-
babysitting, so I can't attend either.
If there's anybody who would like to go, here you go, here's the flyer. Thank you. And I'll come back with any information you need to know about from the state lab when you get caught driving while, you should never be caught driving while intoxicated.
No, she always gonna.
Well, that's why I said your Kimmick's driving.
Okay, so now we're, since we finished the new business, committee reports, as we started with you, we'll continue with you.
Okay, so I only have one, and that's from the Great Oak Park. And it's actually an email I'm gonna read from Chairman Mike Guadino. It says, after 7 years, which was a lot of hard work, the Great Lawn has become a reality. We need to thank the hundreds of volunteers who, over the years, worked in the park. They are the reason the program and vision keeps moving forward. We also need to thank two very important companies, Vanderbeck Tree Experts and James Construction. These two Oakland companies donated their labor to help the necessary big construction aspects in the building of the lawn. We also need to thank the DPW, especially Scott and his team, for all their hard work. The lawn was seeded last week. We're going to allow the process for it to grow into a lawn, which will happen this spring and summer. We ask everyone to kindly not step on the lawn. The Green Team and Sustainable New Jersey, who coordinated with the Great Oak Park Commission, planted 500 trees around the C1 stream this past weekend. They were helped by over 40 volunteers, which allowed them to get all this work completed. Boy Scout Anthony Richards began his Eagle Scout project this weekend and has several more dates scheduled to complete it. Anthony, with his enlisted team, are cutting vines which are choking the trees in the park. And these are vines that are like 6-8 inches in round. They're not really small things. They're amazing.
Tarzan vines.
The Great Oak Park Committee designed a section of trees for Anthony to work on. As you may remember, back in 2012, the park was riddled by vines which were killing all the trees, including the great white oak. Over years, many groups have worked with the committee to help the park rid of these invasive vines. Anthony's project will be another step in preserving and protecting the environment and habitat of the Great Oak Park. Lastly, Peter Marcos met with the Great Oak Park Committee earlier this month regarding placing his modified art sculpture on the Great Lawn. And the Great Oak Park Committee hopes to have a plan from Peter given to them at their next park meeting. Respectfully submitted, Mike Guadino. That is my report.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. There was no flood commission last month, but the flood commission will be meeting this coming Monday at the senior center, at the Borough Hall Conference Room at 7:30. A couple things for Shade Tree. The Shade Tree Committee is starting a logo contest. We're gonna be looking for a logo for the Shade Tree Committee, not unlike what the Communications Commission did. The plan is to have some sort of prize for the winning selection. The committee's gonna go through everything, come up with the 3 that they like the best, submit those to the governing body, and for the governing body to make a final selection. And that's it. Pat?
Pat, Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor. Last night I attended the Environmental Commission meeting last night. And they reported, I'd like to report on the Roots for Rivers program that was conducted. I think the mayor touched on it, Bob touched on it, and I just have a little,
I think Lou touched on it too.
few things to add. There were 40 volunteers who participated in planting 497 trees. And these trees are planted along the C1 stream because we hope to have it to become a trout-producing stream. The trout need shaded waters in order to reproduce and not full sun. Each tree was placed in a protective growth tube, which took some time to install. They also removed 160 root balls from invasive vines. Total was 350 volunteer hours was donated by these volunteers.
That's incredible.
And a big thank you to them. I mean,
And the weather was crappy.
yeah, I mean, they're just such good people to come out and put all this time in. Really, thank you so much to them. For future events, if you'd like to help the Green Team in programs such as the Roots River, for Sustainable Oakland Green Team mailing list at please sign up at the mailing list at www.oakland-mj.org/subscribe. I'd just like to also remind people that this Saturday, May 11th, at the Bergen County Camp Gore Mountain Reserve, 200 Camp Gore Road, is the Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day. Bring your old paint, old gasoline, old herbicides, pesticides, anything that's dangerous to, liquid form to the Camp Gore site, but do not bring electronics, paper shredding, or tires to the hazardous waste collection. It starts at 9 a.m. and it goes until 3 p.m. Now, if you do have electronics, that's going to be Saturday, June the 8th, from 9 to 2 p.m., and that's when you can bring tires, electronics, and computers, and there's also going to be a mobile shredding truck there. The mayor pointed out before about the collection of plastic bags at the library, plastic bags from the grocery store, from your pantries, from your front door, such as the newspaper, the plastic sleeves that the newspapers come in, which I didn't know. So you could bring that there. The mobile shredding truck for Oakland residents only is going to be this Saturday from 9 until 1 at Borough Hall parking lot across from the library.
9 to 1?
So it says here, 9 to 1.
Oh, that's good. I was afraid it was 9 to 11. Thank
It
you.
says 9 to 1.
I'm glad.
It says 9 to 1 on my piece of paper. I hope it's
So
right.
if you go there at 1 o'clock and the truck's not there, contact council.
It was 9 to 11.
Observe, and you can observe your documents being shredded right there. The event is rain or shine, no business or commercial trucks allowed. They will accept confidential bills, receipts, tax returns, medical records, legal documents, etc. Paper clips and staples are acceptable. Not accepted are hardcover books, magazines, newspapers, photos, and x-rays. No confidential papers, no binders or binder clips.
Excuse me, Councilman, when you say no commercial truck, can you bring commercial, commercial files and things, you just can't come in a commercial vehicle?
Doesn't say that. Just
So
says
you could
no
just bring,
business or
put it in
commercial
your, put it in your
allowed.
personal vehicle.
Truck will fill up too
Don't
fast.
tell anybody.
I don't think they want business or
No.
commercial records.
No, you're not allowed. The last thing, and this is something, John, for DPW, the Environmental Commission last night discussed, and let me finish what I'm going to say before you think I'm not making a true statement. You know, we use brine in the winter for the streets, which, does contain sodium, obviously. There's another method which doesn't use as much, as a matter of fact, 40% less, and it's beet juice versus brine. And it's
Beet
sugar,
juice that people
it's sugar
drink?
beets, no, it's
Yeah.
sugar beets.
Beet juice, it's valid.
It's sugar beets, and
Out
it's
of beets, out of the plant beet.
Yes.
sugar beets.
Sugar beets, yeah, I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, and they would like to suggest, the DPW looking into that possibly for next year, because if you, I'm sure you know, not if you know, I'm sure you know, every time we get a water report, our sodium level is.
Yeah, exactly.
Is high. So this may help, if we use brine, because it's 40% less sodium.
And
Just a
it's
suggestion.
and it's as effective? Wow.
As
It'll be-
effective,
it will
it may be even more effective,
Very good. Well, I'll ask Anthony, he
Yeah.
must have something on it.
yeah.
And I just don't know if we are ready for red roads throughout Oakland.
Well,
no,
I
it's
wanted
not.
to ask
I
if it
know.
stains.
I'm just making
That's why I made
a
it
little
clear.
humor once in a while.
Yeah, yes. And I spoke,
Yellow brick road.
Eric has a white car, we can let him go first.
and I spoke to Councilman Kumala earlier this evening. The Environmental Commission would like Eric to come to the next Environmental Commission meeting on June 4th to discuss our water report, possibly putting together an education program, because last year at the carnival, believe it or not, most of the questions that were asked to the people at the environmental booth were about our water report. So if you could come, they'd like to discuss maybe having an educational program next year, because in 2 years is going to be a new standard, which I told you about. So it might be very beneficial to the residents if we have an educational program.
I'll be there.
Thank you. That's it,
You
man.
should also ask John Bialy, because he's.
Well, we
part of
talked
that
about it.
committee.
We go as a
He's
team.
going.
Yeah, we talked.
Yes.
Lone Ranger and Tonto.
We
Go.
talked. John said it'd be okay for our request, unless you
Yeah.
want to come too.
Well, we work as a team.
I know you do. Good job, too.
Is that it?
That's it, thank you.
John?
Yes,
Bialy?
senior report. Bingo scheduled for Thursday, May 16th at 1 PM. And movie day is scheduled for Wednesday, May 22nd at 1 PM. And the movie selected is Greenbrook.
I thought last month you said 23rd.
22nd, saying here, the 22nd.
1 p.m.
1 PM.
Thank
The senior center now has the mail-in list. I've reported this. I want to report it for a couple months. So if you haven't heard it, monthly updates are important communication will be sent via email to those on the list. For any resident interested in joining the email list, please reach out to Ariel in person, via phone, or via email at seniors@oakland-nj.org to be added to the list. And it has already started yesterday, starting on Tuesday, May 7th. The senior center will begin a weekly walking club, which will continue on every Tuesday during the months of May and June, starting at 9:30 a.m., weather permitting. Each walk will last about 30 minutes, and there will be a special guest from town on each walk. Just stop into Ariel's office and let her know you're attending, or give her a call at 201-405-7731. And the senior center will be hosting a lunch and learn with elder care attorney Rhonda Benjamin on Thursday, May 30th at 12 p.m., and a pizza lunch will be served. DPW, on Monday, the 6th, the contractor started the concrete work associated with the road resurfacing project for the completion of the 2018 project, road project. This portion of the program will include the installation of handicap ramps, then milling and paving will follow until completed. The streets affected are as follow: Chickasaw Drive, Pima Court, West Sheffield Street, Saratoga Drive, Gates End, Post Road, and the First Aid Squad parking lot. Prior to milling and paving, the roads affected will be posted with no parking signs, and residents are asked to pay attention to the dates and these very important no parking signs posted in the areas that have been indicated. Under the direction of the Oakland Shade Tree Commission, the DPW has agreed to plant 30 to 35 new trees throughout the borough. At this time, the Shade Tree Committee Chairman is putting together his final touches on the final plan, and a planting schedule will be available shortly thereafter. On Tuesday, I'm going to skip that one, go on to Saturday, I'm going back to it because I have something to add to that report. This Saturday, May 11th, as Pat indicated, the DPW employees will be in Borough Hall parking lot to help the shredding machine on the truck. Employees will be there to assist residents who may need help handling boxes or heavy bundles. On Tuesday, May 14th, the DPW is expecting their annual flower delivery. This year, more than 100 pots will be placed curbside alongside Rampo Valley Road, from Franklin Avenue to Long Hill Road. On behalf of the entire borough of Oakland, as well as the governing body and the DPW, we would like to send a very special thank you to Ronnie and Larry Levine for their continued generosity and for their help in keeping Oakland beautiful. I got to share with you. I called Anthony up today. I says, I know the Levines have been involved in this for quite a while. I said, where did this start? He said, well, back in 2010, there wasn't enough money in the budget for flowers. And Ronnie called, or Larry called and said, how come there's no flowers in the flower pots? And we had purchased 25 pots at that time. And Anthony gave him the answer, we don't have the money in the budget to sustain a flower system for the pots. And the following day, a truck shows up with flowers donated by the Levines. And since then, the Levines have also taken on replacing the old pots And the borough has not paid a dime for any of the pots over and above the original 25. And those original 25, Anthony said, are long gone. And now it's all new ones. And Ronnie and Larry, thank you so much. They've been the contributors going unsung for this long for all those pots along Rampo Valley Road and the flowers every year. And I remember being at a tree planting ceremony at high school, and that tree was a blue spruce donated by Larry and Ronnie. And Anthony says, I mentioned to somebody there, boy, one of those trees would look beautiful by the DPW building, and the next day, a tree showed up. Benefit of Ronnie and Larry Levine. So I think we all owe the Levines another
Absolutely.
great round of applause for the work they do and
that's why
the
this-
contribution to the town.
And what about the beautiful plaque in the library?
And the plaque, they have a room named after them,
Yes.
so. And one other thing, Historic Society, there's gonna be an award given tomorrow evening, and I was going to be present, but I heard that somebody else will be there from town. This award has nothing to do with an award, it's actually just a nomination of the towns that are pursuing their historic properties in town and doing a fine job.
They're
And-
part of a coalition.
It's part of the coalition.
That's
But
what it is.
the Claire Thal Award for Lifetime Achievement is going to be presented to Tom Myers of Fort Lee. And these towns will be recognized for their work in historic renovation and restoration. And that's Emerson, Fort Lee, Mawa, Montvale, New Milford, Oakland, Ridgewood, Rutherford, Tenafly, Upper Saddle River, Westwood, and Wyckoff. So I think members of the Historic Society of Oakland will be there to accept
Yes.
that.
I know Jerry's going.
Jerry is going, so, thank you so much.
Councilman?
Thank you, Mayor. I attended a rec meeting on April 29th. I just want to let you know that the current signups are going on right now. I know it's already almost the beginning of summer, but football, cheer, and soccer signups are currently going on. For more information, visit oaklandrec.org. That's www.oaklandrec.org. As the mayor indicated, if everything goes well on Friday, the bathrooms will be open next week. Also, in the beginning, probably the first council meeting in June, the travel basketball team will be honored at the council meeting, like we've done with the travel baseball teams and other teams. We also met at, myself, Mr. Guadino, borough engineer, and Vivian King met last week, to talk about plans for the roller rink. We are still working out some of the details and moving forward on that. Also, an announcement for the council, there's going to be a annual Hall of Fame ceremony down at the Danny D Building on June 17th at 6 p.m. That's June 17th at 6 p.m., Hall of Fame ceremony at the Danny D Building, all invited. The people to be honored are Kevin Cleary, Paul Marchezo, and Bobby Calderon. They're all going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Communications Commission, we had a meeting last Monday, May 6th. Still looking for volunteers. You're going to see a couple changes taking place on our access channel, channel 77 and 45. As you recall, last year, we had the Communications Commission had asked for money in the budget to upgrade their old control system, the Nexus and the Telview system. One is 15 years old, and the other one goes back to 2001. You're going to be seeing a transition in the next 60 days to the new electronics control system. And it's a built-in bulletin board, and also it controls all the automation of everything that goes on with the channel. And it's also got hooks that are going to go back to real-time traffic and weather. So you're going to see, and also Twitter feeds if the town puts out Twitter feeds. So you're going to see some real interesting 77 if you look for local weather, local traffic. So you'll have all that information will be coming up on that. So they're going to be cutting over officially on the first week of July, but you will see the transition taking place beginning next month. Also, we had a water sewer meeting, myself, the mayor, John Bialy, on April 26th, and now there's so much movement going on with the sewers that we're now having bi-weekly meetings. So we're meeting every other week, so our next meeting is May 10th, this Friday at 9:30. I also want...
9:30, not 9?
Okay, 9 o'clock.
Is it? I don't know what time.
I thought it was 9:30, but...
What time, John?
I have it at 9.
9 o'clock? 9 o'clock. Thank you, Mayor. Also, I want to certainly commend the green team. I did go down and look at the tree plantings down there. It's pretty amazing if you go down there and take a look, the amount of trees on both sides of the river. I mean, I'll be long dead and buried by the time I can see these trees grow up, but it's going to be pretty amazing.
No, in 5 years, they'll be 4.5 feet tall.
Will they really? All right, I might be around.
Yes, you know what, I have to tell you a story. When we first moved to Oakland, we lived on Walnut Street, and we moved from the city, and we moved to Oakland, and Steve says to me, oh, at one point, I ordered 20, all these trees, you're gonna get a big box of these trees that we're going to plant. And I get a shoebox in the mail, and I open it up, it's like all these little, what is it, saplings?
Seedling, yeah.
And I drive past the house, it was on Walnut Street, those trees are higher than the house.
Wow, 30 feet.
Yep.
Yeah, you never know.
And
So,
also,
you'll be around.
I also want to welcome Andrea Levy as a commissioner to the OCC. It's a great group of people to work with, and we certainly look forward to having you at the next meeting.
You have to go to Lisa at Borough Hall to take the oath of office and get your information.
That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman?
I have no report. I have to get home to celebrate my birthday with my kids. Thank you.
Saying we all know each other.
No, Andrew, you got in Flow Follies. You didn't get up on stage.
Next year, he will.
Oh, you got to do it, Lou. You're natural.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Since there's no public,
Motion to close.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Bills to be paid, Councilman Talamini, quick.
Bills to be paid, $2,520,010.39. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Diallo.
Yes.
Councilman Net.
Yes.
Councilman Kamara.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Finicelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
A motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next meeting is May 22nd, right here in Council Chambers. Have a good evening. Let's have a considering